Hello, and welcome to the January edition of Hempfield Happenings.
This month, we'll be exploring a new space for creative individuals,
Learn more about the new school board members,
and hear a student's story who is battling cancer.
all this and much more on this month's edition of Hempfield Happenings.
Kindergarten classrooms across the Hempfield School District have been piloting a new idea, earning badges instead of traditional letter grades. The badging pilot was implemented in October of this school year. Assistant Superintendent Mr. Mike Bremersky explains its goal.
So the idea of badging came about through committee work. Back in 2015-16, kindergarten teachers had asked us to really sit down and take a look at the kindergarten report card. The main purpose and goal of this initiative is really to focus on reporting progress to parents. And part of our responsibility as a school district is to not only report that progress, but also to look at and evaluate our current practices. And so our initiative right now is, and our hope is that teachers are able to communicate with parents based on how students are doing on a more regular basis, as opposed to having to wait until a report card comes out at the end of each trimester.
Two students at Hempfield High School, Kai Dunnigan and James McKinney, are responsible for the creation of the badges.
Well, I start with a template that I made. I just paste it there, and then depending on what the teacher tells me, we have a list of how they should be made and what they're for. I'll take that and just through my ideas and what he wants, I'll just find different shapes and whatnot, put it on the template and see how it looks, send it to him, see what he thinks. And if he doesn't like it or he wants to change something, then I'll do it again.
However, these badges have been strictly virtual, with hard copies yet to be introduced.
In terms of the hard copies of the badges, right now we're strictly focused on the digital side of things. We are having conversations about what the physical badges could potentially look like. And one of the most important parts is, regardless of whether it's physical or digital, we want to make sure that we're respecting students' privacy with regards to their own academic progress. And so if we were to do something with a physical badge, it will be in consultation with teachers and our administrators, and then we'll inform parents before we do anything in terms of physical badges with students.
Some kindergarten teachers view the badges as a step in the right direction. Ms. Jessica Ames and Stephanie Crush elaborate.
I think it's a really good idea. I think this is the direction that education is going, more on the fly assessment instead of at the end of a given marking period. As students acquire their skills, we can document it. The cool thing about the badging is as they accomplish a certain skill, I can notify parents right away. So they are also signed up through this badging program, and I have the ability to share it right in front of the student, and they see me click the email button and it automatically shoots out to the parent.
I've gotten nothing but positive communication from parents. There are questions because it's new, so of course there's going to be questions. So I've had conversation with parents and asked them, to tell me, how do you feel about it? And so we could have a conversation about why I think it was something really good for us to try. And from there, I've gotten nothing but positive communication. I had one parent send me a video of how they communicated at home. The same way you would celebrate a first report card, they celebrated a badge, and the student was running around their house happy that they had gotten this. So I definitely think that parents are, from what I have heard, enjoying this level of communication.
Though it isn't permanent, with deliberation and feedback from teachers, parents, and students, badging could play an important part in kindergarten classes to come. For Hempfield Happenings, I'm Devin Nunemaker.
With all the advances in technology, is the library still a useful tool for students? Bailey Rye investigated a new program emerging throughout Hempfield's libraries.
We don't need this. Now we do the batteries attached, right?
Libraries have always been associated with books, but in the technologically advanced world that we live in today, they have become something more. A recent study by Pew Research Center showed a steady decline in library foot traffic since the year of 2012. Only just recently, in 2016, has the traffic started to increase. Will libraries be able to keep up the positive trend? Mrs. DiMaria speaks on libraries moving forward.
20 or 30 years from now, I think libraries will continue to evolve with whatever education, life, and the public throws at it. It only seems natural that as times change, our jobs as librarians will change and our actual physical space will change. This went from, a table to something that houses a makerspace. The furniture will change as we need less and less books and we have more electronic books. So the actual physical space will absolutely evolve with the times, as well as the librarians, as well as everybody else. So we all kind of work together.
One way Mount Vale Elementary School Library is staying relevant is the addition of a makerspace.
So the whole idea of a makerspace is to allow students self-choice, allow them to be creative, allow them to problem solve, work collaboratively, and overcome some sort of challenge in most cases. We usually give them about 10 minutes to check out books at the end of our library lesson. And with ebooks now, it's so easy and seamless to kind of really quickly check out a book, and then students had extra time on their hands. And I'd always been thinking about a way that I could implement a makerspace into an elementary curriculum, but with the constraints of the schedule, I didn't see any time, and then I saw my opportunity.
This is challenging.
It is challenging.
It's supposed to be the point, though.
Mrs. DiMaria used the majority of her book budget in the attempt to create a makerspace in her library. After realizing that money was tight and there was a need for more, she applied for a grant. The Lancaster County School Retirees presented Mrs. DiMaria with the grant for her makerspace.
The application is open to any school employee. It doesn't have to be a teacher. There are certain questions that need to be answered or at least explained in application. We look at the project that they're going to work on. Is it new, creative, innovative? The other is how many students are going to be impacted by that as well. So we want to see the money to go as far as it can. At this particular stage for Makerspace in the library is excellent because for the amount of money that is spent, it has the opportunity to reach more students and even more teachers, be available to more teachers. I think the most important thing about a library is being able to provide resources, okay, for students, teachers, the public in general. In other words, not everybody can afford to have every book, every video, or everything is available, whereas the library provides that avenue for people to have access to everything in that sense.
Libraries are not just a place that house books. They have adapted so they are able to help people in an appropriate manner to match this technologically advanced world that we live in. So if you need access to something that might seem inaccessible and need someone with the proper knowledge to help you, or just want to sit back and enjoy a nice book, don't turn your back on the library. For Hempfield Happenings, I'm Bailey Rye.
It's the season of giving. Lauren Digg talked with a group of individuals who love to help the less fortunate and found out how they give back to the community.
Around 4 years ago, the Wrap-Up Project was started to give back to the community and those in need during the winter season. Angela Reed started this project by taking handmade scarves, hats, and mittens and leaving them in public areas for anyone who needs them.
The purpose of it is to provide people with accessories that will help to keep them warm. And being that they're handmade, it also is like giving them a hug or letting them know that somebody cares about them.
The project leaves out over 700 items in Lancaster and Columbia once every month from October through April. They call these events Scarfbombings. All of the items are donations from volunteers and community members throughout the county. There are sit-and-stitches that are held at the speckled sheet for anyone to attend to socialize and knit or crochet for the Wrap-Up Project.
We do host sit-and-stitches, so those who want to learn more about the project can come and talk to Angela herself and find out other ways that they can contribute themselves.
One of the reasons that we're having sit-and-stitches now is so that we can meet people, but there are people all over the county and sometimes even outside the county that are making items.
On all of the accessories, there is a tag that says, "I am not lost. If you're stuck out in the cold, take this handmade item to keep warm." The project also has tagging parties to tag all of the scarves, hats, and mittens, and it is open to the public. The wrap-up project emphasizes the usage of handmade items rather than store-bought for good reason.
Handmade because when you're making something, whether it's knit, crochet, woven, whatever, you are making it with the intention that you're making it for somebody. Store-bought items are made somewhere else, a lot of times using child labor or questionable labor practices, so the intention behind it is not really the same thing.
The wrap-up project posts updates about upcoming events and other important information on their Facebook at Wrap Up Lancaster and their website wrapupproject.org. The project can use any donations, including yarn, scarves, storage bins, and funds. You can visit their Facebook or website to find out more ways that you can contribute. The winter season is far from over, so be sure to bundle up and think of giving back to your community. For Hempfield Happenings, I'm Lauren Degg.
With the new year comes new school board members. Julia Campbell met some of the new members to learn who they are and what they are all about.
And I will discharge the duties of my office with fidelity.
Although most of the Hempfield School Board's work occurs behind the scenes, it plays an integral part in providing Hempfield students with a quality education. The 9 members of the school board work hard to ensure the school district is the best it can be. The school board has 3 essential functions: to set district policy, execute the district budget, and hire and work with the superintendent, but it is also responsible for everything from determining staff salaries to maintaining school buildings.
There's discussion at the committee meetings. That's where a lot of the information is disseminated and really talked about in detail. The work of the school board is kind of boring, but necessary.
Each of the 9 members serves a 4-year term. At the elections this past November, 2 new members were elected: Mike Donato and Linda Johnston.
I graduated from Hempfield a long time ago. My children all attended Hempfield and they got a great quality education. Being a retired teacher, and I was also an administrator for a few years, it gives me a better understanding, I think, how schools run.
I have a master's in secondary education. I've taught at a university in China. I've taught in an international school. I've homeschooled. I've had kind of the whole gambit of schools.
I'm also a psychiatric nurse. I get to deal with adolescents and children. That gives me an entirely different experience that normal school board members probably wouldn't have.
I was in the Army for 5 years. That's where I met my husband, Jim. We moved over 26 times in 20 years.
I volunteer as a CASA, court-appointed special advocate for kids in foster care. And even though my own children are grown, my wife and I are foster parents. We actually have a student attending the high school.
The new school board members lend their thoughts on their upcoming terms on the school board.
I decided to run over a year ago. I had been going to the school board meetings. I noticed a lack of women and a lack of mothers, and I just felt that that was an underrepresented group. I think a good balance on the school board is important. I think the school board should represent the community.
It's a lot of reading, it's a lot of learning, and just applying what I know of the educational system.
The role of the school board is not to balance, but to manage the tension between the community, the school community, and the administration. And somewhere in all of that, the finances.
Who will administer the oaths of office.
My kids have had lots of experience with schools. Hempfield's the best school out of all those schools that they've ever been to. So I hopefully can be a part of maintaining that excellence that Hempfield has.
For the next few years, Mr. Donato and Mrs. Johnston will strive to make decisions that are best for the school district. For Hempfield Happenings, I'm Julia Campbell.
As a continuation of Hempfield's international collaboration with Russian students, Bailey Titter visited the Boris Yeltsin Center in Russia to explore an art exhibit designed for individuals with physical impairments.
Here in the birthplace of Russia's first president, Boris Yeltsin, his family funded a museum that would be an interactive space for all community.
Tatiana Filipova, a respondent from the museum, shares more.
The core of the Boris Yeltsin Center is the museum devoted to the life of Boris Yeltsin.
Because of its history, the Yeltsin Presidential Center hosts multitudes of people from around the world. The goal of the center is to make exhibits and attractions that are accessible to everyone that visits.
One of our top priorities when designing and building the center was to make it inclusive for everyone, to ensure that it is welcoming to all people wanting to visit. We have actually developed many different experiences for people with different disabilities. For example, if a person in a wheelchair comes to visit, or a blind person, or a hearing impaired person, or maybe a person of mental disability, we will have a guide tailored just to that specific need. We will take them through the exhibit so they can see the full experience.
With the help of a guide or on your own, you can explore the museum. The art can be seen using senses other than vision. Evgeny Utiergin, a guide for the museum, explains how this is done.
So these are tactile models with little copies of artwork, so the people who are blind can feel the artwork. And even for other people, it's, I think, interesting experience because you can put on the headphones with audio description and close your eyes and feel the art differently, just with your feelings, with tactile.
The start of the exhibit to the end is designed so a person with any kind of disability, whether they are using a wheelchair or are blind, they can navigate and get the same experience as anyone else.
The Boris Yeltsin Museum is another example of advancements for inclusion in the modern world. For DPTV, I'm Bailey Titter.
To see the rest of this month's episode of DPTV and learn more about our students' Russian collaboration, please visit tinyurl.com/DPTVTWO. That's the number 2 spelled out. Again, that is tinyurl.com/DPTV2. Here at Hempfield, a new program called the Career Cafe is emerging in the elementary schools. I went to discover how these career cafes affect our students. This year at Hempfield, we are making a greater push towards career exploration in the middle school and elementary school levels. This is in compliance with Act 339. Act 339 is a statewide plan to promote career exploration for all students in Pennsylvania. Mrs. Melissa Bose, the head of the guidance department, explains how Hempfield is preparing our students for the future.
So we team with teachers and deliver career lessons, and we do that beginning in kindergarten. So K through 12, everyone receives lessons that center around who are you as a person, what's important to you, what are your interests, what are your skills, and then as you grow older and become 11th and 12th grade, that's when you really hone in on what the student in particular wants to pursue.
Recently, Officer Bart Hollis of the West Hempfield Township Police Department was a guest speaker at Farmdale Elementary School. He explained why he believes career exploration is so important.
I think it's a great idea to introduce the children to different occupations and give them goals to be able to reach and help them aspire to be, better citizens.
One student at Farmdale expressed her thoughts on the guest speaker.
It was fun having somebody come in and get to talk to us during lunch. It just makes lunch more fun.
Whether it's just fun at lunch or opening a window of self-discovery, the push for career exploration is here. For Hempfield Happenings, I'm Luke Dreyer.
Girls on the Run is a program that was started to promote positivity through good health and running. They recently held a 5K, and I spoke to some of the runners who participated. Girls on the Run is an international organization that holds 2 5K races each year, including this one in the winter. Jennifer West, along with her friend Carrie Johnson, founded the Girls on the Run program in Lancaster.
I started it with Carrie Johnson, so this is our 9th year, and it's our 17th 5K. She researched girls' self-esteem and running. She just thought that Girls on the Run, like Lancaster, would be a great place. I thought, this is a great time. Elementary school and middle school is such a crazy time for girls right now. So we thought that Girls on the Run would be a great thing to give girls the confidence and a real boost, and to having them realize that being unique is good and being different is okay, and you don't have to be like everybody else. We want them to learn to be the boss of their own brains.
Reagan West is one of the coaches who helps the runners through their usual practices.
Well, we pick them up from school and we walk them over to the field, and then they get to socialize for 10 minutes, and then we sit down and we teach a lesson, like building confidence or using your star power, and then they run laps and they get lap counters, stickers or something.
Running long distances can be very difficult, so the runners always have support to get them to the finish line.
I feel motivated because I pushed myself this far to finish it, and I feel happy inside. So people around you can motivate you, and it's just really helpful to run.
For whatever reason you decide to run, whether it be with Girls on the Run or just for fun, it can positively impact your life. For Hempfield Happenings, I'm Andrew Schaffler.
Mr. Sharp, a guidance counselor at Landisville Middle School, was recently awarded Middle School Guidance Counselor of the Year by the Pennsylvania School Counselor Association. Emily McAlpine discovered more about this prestigious award.
I remember looking at my carpool friends, my boy friends, and feeling really safe.
One of Landisville Middle School's guidance counselors, Mr. Sharp, was recently awarded the Middle School Counselor of the Year. He is also the creator of the Young Women's Leadership Academy, a program designed to help empower the youth of today. Mr. Sharp has been a part of Landisville Middle School staff since 2011 and has been awarded Middle School Counselor of the Year for all of his hard work.
I was nominated towards the end of the summer for Middle School Counselor of the Year. I was nominated by a school counselor who was actually the School Counselor of the Year 2 years ago. And she was just aware of the work that I was doing both within the district and across the state and nationally, and she nominated me. My favorite part about counseling at middle school is without a doubt the students every time. I mean, working with students is really the joy. It's why even on the most difficult days I come back whistling and singing through the hallways, as most of my students are familiar with me doing. Our job is to make sure that we are removing any barriers and helping to support students in the best ways possible as they enter the world of work or post-secondary education following high school, and in addition to that, move on throughout a lifetime to have a rich and full life.
Additionally, he had created the Women's Leadership Academy with the support of many other staff members in December of 2014. He did this in order to give the young women of Landisville Middle School more confidence in their career choices.
Right now we're doing the Young Women's Leadership Academy. This is, I believe, our 5th year running, and I'm really excited about these programs. What we know is that for young women, we have a lot of great leadership potential in them, but sometimes they aren't afforded either through formal structures or informal structures, these opportunities to explore leadership. So we try and have a targeted workshop for young women in the school, both middle schools, that they can come and have hands-on activities with leading professionals throughout the region. And it's been really exciting. The programs just continue to grow every year.
School, in college, even as an attorney.
I feel really inspired because it actually makes me feel like I can do that too. I think it's definitely going to inspire me to do greater things.
Ms. Kim Smith is a lawyer at Barley Law Firm, and she believes in helping to make the world of career options known to today's youth.
I often do different programs. I've served as a mentor for the Lancaster Bar Association, mentoring young female attorneys who have come into the bar. I just feel so strongly about empowering young women in particular, actually young men too, just to give young people confidence in doing and pursuing whatever they would like to do and aiming higher, I think. It's humbling and it's gratifying, and so there's a real self-reward in that you know that you've tried to make it or have made a difference in somebody's life. I think that it's just so encouraging to see these young women who are so thoughtful already and so informed about their opportunities and leadership capabilities and qualities.
The Landisville Middle School counselors have a goal of helping everyone to be successful. From Hempfield Happenings, I'm Emily McAlpine.
2 students here at Hempfield are currently battling cancer. One, a freshman, Isaiah Shorter, is currently going through chemotherapy treatments, but that didn't stop him from watching his favorite team. Isaiah also received a visit from Redskins linebacker Martell Strait. Another student, Sophie Ruiz, is currently battling neuroblastoma. Molly Hooley visited Sophie to see how she's doing.
Wise men say only fools rush in.
Here at Hempfield, 2 of our students are currently battling cancer. Since the diagnosis of neuroblastoma in September, with the help of friends and family, Sophie has been able to stay strong while battling cancer.
Honestly, I've gotten a good, positive feedback from everything, and it's a lot of support, so that's really appreciated.
2 students from Lancaster Catholic, Cameron Bartow and Toby Prime, approached Sophie with the idea of a t-shirt fundraiser in her honor, Sophie Strong.
They basically came to my house in the next few days with a sketch of just a t-shirt, and it was amazing, and they also made bracelets. One of the guys basically had a a friend that could make these shirts and put them out on a website. All the money goes to Four Diamonds, and I'm like so thankful that for them, for all the work that they put in, because it was a lot.
Minithon and the Four Diamonds Fund have made the experience a little easier for Sophie and her family.
Anything the insurance doesn't cover, Four Diamonds steps in and takes care of that for the families. And that's a huge burden off of the parents. That's one less thing that they have to worry about.
Money raised by Minithon is honestly a big help to all families, all cancer families, because every child that goes through Hershey Hospital, I know, all their bills are basically paid by Four Diamonds.
In honor of the 2 Hempfield students currently fighting cancer, Hempfield Minithon is holding a special dance in January where all proceeds will go to benefit the Four Diamonds Fund.
We want them to know that they're fighting right along with us. So we decided to have the dance in their honor.
I feel like it'll be a lot of fun for a good cause, and everyone will be able to get together and just kind of hang out, have a good time, and yeah, raise awareness for childhood cancer.
It's great to be able to get that message out. People think that, well, you know, we've cured cancer. Well, we haven't yet, but we want to.
Though Sophie is doing well, the fight against cancer is still on. For Hempfield Happenings, I'm Molly Hooley.
We ask that you please keep Isaiah and Sophie in your thoughts as they continue to fight through these hard times.
Thank you for watching this month's episode of Hempfield Happenings. We will be back in the next month's episode from Frederick, Maryland.